What's good, peeps? What is good? All right, let's get straight into this video. No time wasting. I poured myself a double Chivas Regal. Is it Regal or Regal? I still have no idea what it is, but whatever it is, it's bloody nice. All right, let's jump straight into it. According to those in the know, those people being Michael Benson and I think Mike Coppinger has tweeted it as well, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders is reportedly done, sealed, agreed for either May 1st or May 8th. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez has to get past Adrien, yielded him that fight. It's scheduled for February 27th. WBA, WBC, and WBO belts will be on the line. We're hearing that is done. Please. Remember, this fight was due to take place last year, and then COVID hit, and then the fight got canned, and there was talks about Billy Joe Saunders fighting Canelo in and around the September date. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because of money, because obviously the money was going to be a lot less. Maybe he said he didn't want to do it. I don't remember the full stories, but all I know now is that the fight is scheduled to take place according to people that know a lot more about the situation than we do. I fucking love Canelo, you know. I mean, let me take that back. Yeah, no, I love him. I'm about to say I don't love him because of all the issues with clenbuterol, but I'm going to try and park that to the side for a second. Just him as a fighter and his willingness to fight, I love. I mean, everyone was talking about the Adrien yielded him thing. Some weren't happy. I tried to make an argument that I don't really care. And this is why, see, now you understand why I said I didn't care about yielded him. Because in between, or sandwiched either side of yielded him, is Callum Smith, unbeaten at the time, ring recognized #1. And on the other side is Billy Joe Saunders, unbeaten WBO champion. That's what he's doing either side of yielded him. I don't care about yielded him. I don't care. This is what he's doing in 5 months. Is it 5? Yeah, 6 months. In 6 months, he's taken on unbeaten Callum Smith, yielded him, unbeaten Billy Joe Saunders. The guy's jumped up to a division. 168 is not his division. 160, I think, if he can make it, I think still is his best division because the 168 guys are pretty big. Benavidez, big. Callum Smith, big. Doesn't mean anything to him. So, look, he jumped up a division and in a matter of, 3 more months, he could literally be one belt away from cleaning out that division. That's Canelo for you. That's fucking ridiculous. Pardon my French, but that's ridiculous. Honestly, it's like, you look at what he's done from 2018 to 2021, and you're talking 2 Golovkin fights, you're talking Danny Jacobs fight, you're talking light heavyweight fight with Kovalev. Some people might say, yeah, Kovalev was washed. Doesn't matter. He jumped up from 160. Let's not forget, he didn't go to he didn't have a fight at 168. Jumped up from 160 to 175 to fight Kovalev. Callum Smith yielded him, which is still a world level type fighter to some, not to me, but you know, the rankings are the rankings. And now Billy Joe Saunders. That's his resume in the last 3 years. Incredible. So look, let's hope he gets past yielded him with no issues. No, I don't expect issues in terms of him losing. I'm talking about issues in terms of injuries, because that is a quick turnaround. From February to May is a very, very quick turnaround. But that's what he does. You know, he doesn't let his body get out of shape. He's always in the gym. I mean, there's a reason why he is clearly pound for pound #1. Like, it's with a gap now. That it's funny, a year is a short time in boxing. A year ago, it was quite close between him and Loma, right? I can make an argument. Now, the gap's massive between him and Terence, or him and Inoue, or Estrada, or Usyk. I mean, he's far in front. And look, I hope that this fight does happen. But there's no doubt him signing that 2-fight deal with Matchroom was for the second fight to be Billy Joe Saunders. Let's see what Billy Joe Saunders can do. A lot of you guys are convincing me that Billy Joe Saunders is the man to cause him trouble and beat him. I will say this. Billy Joe Saunders, and I think we kind of all understand this, unless he completely embarrasses Canelo, isn't winning a points decision in America against Canelo, the cash cow of boxing in America. Isn't happening. And I don't see how he puts a dent in him either. Because for me, Billy Joe Saunders shouldn't be at 168 either. So I just don't see how it happens. But, I'll hold fire and wait and see. But if I was kind of to do my percentages that I normally do. You know, when I say, oh, he's got a percent chance, I will give Billy Joe Saunders a 20% chance. That's all I can give him. Can't give him any more than that. I really can't. Make an argument with yourself. I can't give him more than that. Sorry, people. You know, I'll do what, you know, something's just come to mind. I wasn't even going to talk about this. This wasn't even in my head. I was watching, who was I watching again? Chael Sonnen. That's it. I'm a big fan of Chael Sonnen. Like, I love his work ethic. I love what he does. Every time people reach out to me for advice and, Addy, what should we do? We want to set up a new channel. I'm like, look, go and look at what Chael Sonnen does, how short his videos are, gives you little snippets, 5-6 minutes, but does loads of videos. That's what you should go and do. I've lost a lot of respect for him though now. I saw a Chael Sonnen video talking about Anthony Joshua, and it's fucking disgraceful. It's actually an embarrassing take from ex-professional fighter, someone that's quite high up in the media. It's like, it's a lazy, stupid, uneducated take about Anthony Joshua. Before we even talk about the take, I'm always asked to do random things, by the way. Like, I get asked, Ade, do you want to do something for us for Formula One? Do you want to do something for NFL? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't know too much about the sport. I could quite quickly research the sport, but I don't want to embarrass myself, so I don't really talk about subjects I don't know about, which is why when I sit on here, I only talk about boxing, I chuck in a bit of MMA, and I chuck in a bit of football, just because I know about those subjects. Chael Sonnen clearly knows nothing about boxing, so he should not speak on the subject at all. He said Anthony Joshua can't box. Go and watch the video on his YouTube page. He said Anthony Joshua can't box and Anthony Joshua is lazy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's almost like you've heard a take somewhere and you ran with it without actually knowing and watching AJ. That is so, like, I don't mind when people kind of go back on the AJ stuff. Like, oh, AJ might have a weak chin. I don't agree with that, but hey, it's your take. Or, you know, Fury's going to be AJ. I've even said that. I don't mind that. I don't mind a bit of banter with it. But when people say AJ can't box, I'm like, what are you talking about? Or AJ's lazy? Lazy? I don't think there is a guy in the gym more than AJ. Absolutely stupid take from Chael Sonnen. Again, go and watch it if you want to, but it's honestly, it's ridiculous. He even said something about Stipe Miocic maybe being able to beat AJ. Like, absolute nonsense. Like, clearly knows nothing about boxing. And again, don't talk on a subject you don't know nothing about, especially when you've got those many eyes on you, right? You're not just the average Joe. I mean, he's got like nearly 800,000 subscribers, and it's a poor take. Go and look at how many dislikes. Chael Sonnen never gets dislikes on his videos because, you know, everyone finds him quite funny and knowledgeable. Clearly knows nothing about the sport of boxing. Nothing. And I just find that take stupid. I'm not saying that as an AJ fan. I'm just saying that as a boxing fan. To say AJ can't box and he's lazy are just two of the dumbest takes ever. Dumbest takes. I mean, yeah, anyway, moving on quite quickly. What's this? Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is an MMA guy, by the way. Ben Askren, not the most talented striker, but may upset Jake Paul. Obviously, everyone knows this is happening now. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. You know what I don't want to be the narrative and the takeaway from this fight? And it will happen because I do believe Jake Paul will beat Ben Askren. Ben Askren, A, is like, you know, the wrong side of 30. Plus, he just had hip surgery. Just had hip surgery as well. Literally, this guy can barely walk. Just had a hip surgery. But the takeaway will be when Jake Paul beats him, and a lot of people don't know the things I've just said. For example, it will be Jake Paul has just beaten up a UFC fighter. And that gives him so much more props than he deserves, because this UFC fight, A, is retired, B, is way past it, and C, cannot box to save his life. And it's in a boxing match. Like, honestly, it's an embarrassing thing, but it's very, very smart from Jake Paul's management and Jake Paul's handlers, because you can really sell this now. I mean, you can sell this as you're fighting the former Bellator champion, you're fighting UFC vet, and a UFC guy's only just recently retired. Like Ben Askren only retired about 14 months ago, 15 months ago, I'm going to say max. Do you know what I mean? So you can sell it, and that's very, very smart. And he is going to sleep Ben Askren. I'm confident of it. Conor Ben, I wouldn't be surprised if I knocked out Vargas in one. I would be, and I think the world would be, if I'm honest with you. I think this is a very, very difficult fight for Conor Ben. I hope he comes through it, because I did a video a couple of weeks ago saying I think he could be the new face of British boxing if he does win this and then goes on to beat Josh Kelly. But this is a very, very tough fight. Vargas has been knocked out recently, but that guy who knocked him out is Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz could be a guy that has a belt in a couple of years in the 147 division. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Adrien Broner to face undefeated Jovini Santiago in Showtime main event February 20th. Who the hell is this? Let's have a quick look at this. Jovini. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Let's have a look. So that's like, I'm sure I've said this about Adrien Broner like the last 2 weeks. I keep saying a different name of opponent just because they keep switching opponents up. Okay, so last time out he beat Juan Zagara, who was 16-0. Before that, 23-5. Before that, 25-9. And before that, we don't want to hear about that. But don't know too much about him. Look, it's a kind of a comeback fight for Broner, to be fair. Broner hasn't been in the ring, I think, since Pac-Man. So that might be, that's a long time ago, you know. Can't be that far back, can it? Might be. I can't think of who else he's fought since Pac-Man. Yeah, it was Pac-Man, 19th of January, 2000. Broner hasn't fought for 2 years. Broner, and by the way, it's not that he hasn't fought for 2 years. Broner, this is going to, I mean, hopefully you're sitting down when you say this. Broner hasn't won a fight in 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Nearly done 5 there. 4 years. His last win was against Granados. And by the way, that was a split decision. You know, like, you just got to, I don't want to give up on him, but when someone hasn't won for 4 years, like, and even the win, like, so Granados was a split decision. His win before that was against Ashley Theopain, which was a knockout. So, you know, so in terms of a win-win, which we can actually say 100% you won, because I can't remember the Granados fight, but that was 2016. So his last, like, real stamped win was 2016, 5 years ago. But he hasn't actually won, aside from all that crap, he hasn't won since 18th of Feb 2017, 4 years ago. All right, fair dues, he fought Garcia, Vargas and Pac-Man, but I don't care. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. What else we got here? Brian versus Deverne, set for January 29th. Don King pay-per-view main event. That's a pay-per-view main event. Trevor Bryan versus... Oh, God. Oh, that is... Oh, God, have a drink, Addy. Have a drink. I can't take this anymore. This sport kills me, people. Ooh, God. Breathe. All right, let's go. Quick drink. Trevor Bryan versus Bermane Stiverne. Look, it was supposed to be Trevor Bryan versus Manuel Charr, but now it's Trevor Bryan versus Stiverne. That's a pay-per-view main event. I don't even know. There's so much going on here. Basically, Oquendo has tried to put a block on the WBA title, whatever it is. But move on. I'm just moving on. I ain't got time for it. Erickson Lubin hopes for Williams, Hurd, Rosario, or Harrison next. I like Lubin a lot. I'm about to say Ruben there. I like Lubin a lot. I think, obviously, look, it kind of got stalled, his projection, just because of that Charlo knockout, which was beautiful. But he's a fantastic fighter. 154 is a really good weight for him. Let's see what he can do. Again, there's no harm in that loss. There are really some good names. Look at the names he's mentioned there. Williams, Hurd, Rosario, Harrison. Those guys have all lost, but those are all good matchups. Like, that 4 mix is fantastic. So let's see. Ryan Garcia, boxing belts don't matter. I wear mine because it looks good. He's not wrong, is he? He's not. No, he is wrong. They do matter, but they shouldn't get in the way of big fights. But they do matter. Belts do matter. I think fans, they just do matter. I just don't like the fact that I don't like all the other ones, the other belts, but there's no doubt belts matter. Just don't let them get in the way of good fights. What we got here? Daniel Dubois' ring return targeted for late April or May, says Warren. Yeah, I think I spoke about this a couple of days ago. I actually spoke to Frank a couple of days ago. Get behind if you can. So basically, now I said I've got that show, Gareth A. Davis. It's every Monday for the foreseeable future. Me and Gareth A. Davis are going to try and get on some of the best guests and just literally go back and forth with them. On Monday, we had Frank Warren and Josh Warrington. This Monday we are trying to get some guests, basically trying to get what we can. So we're trying to get Chisora, David Haye, Eddie Hearn. Just honestly, we're trying to make it just a bit fun, a bit interactive. We are trying to do something similar to Ringside. We are going to record it. It's going to go out on YouTube. It's going to be podcast. So try and get behind it if you can. Carlos Takam wants Deontay Wilder, Andrew Ruiz, other top names. Let's move on. We all want to see those fights, but yeah. Callum Smith on Canelo. I don't think anyone beats him. Maybe if he keeps moving up. I don't know, man. I think there are good fights out there. Benavidez out there is a good fight. Caleb Plant, Charlo at 160 is a good fight. There are good fights out there. We'll see. Let's see how he gets past Billy Joe Saunders first. Well, yielded him first, but then Billy Joe Saunders. And then we can start saying no one can beat him. But this is boxing, man. Anyone, I mean, not anyone, but anything can happen. You know, I've seen some of the best get humbled. Let's just say that. So let's see what he can do. I've seen this start to kind of gain a bit of momentum. Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora. Obviously, Joseph Parker's got that Junior Farr fight. When is that fight? But now they're trying to talk about, it's a good fight. It's good. It makes sense. Does it make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that Chisora didn't embarrass himself against Usyk. These two were supposed to fight prior to that Usyk matchup happening. Junior Farr fight is the 27th of Feb. So providing he gets past that, which I think he will, quite comfortably, if I'm honest with you, then yeah, I don't mind seeing it. What I don't want is for Matchroom Sky to try and chuck that on as pay-per-view, because that is not a pay-per-view fight. Not anymore. No, not even that as a pay-per-view fight. I'm sorry. But that's kind of what they'll do. For me, that's the kind of fight that is on the undercard of AJ Fury. It's a good undercard fight, isn't it? That's the kind of fight that goes on the undercard of that. Because it's almost a bit too big. I can see how it's a bit too big for your normal Saturday night fight. But as a main event, chief support, I'll take that as on the undercard. Yeah, what else we got here? Have we got anything else before we go to bed? I'm still laughing in my head about Don King's pay-per-view main event being Trevor Bryan but Main Stavern. I mean, how many fucking pay-per-views is that selling? That ain't selling 1,000. Yeah, it isn't. That ain't selling 1,000. What else we got here? A bit more from Adrien Broner. He says, I get nothing out of fighting Regis Prograis at this point. Okay. Kind of think you do, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, that's it. I want to go to bed. Peace and love.